and welcome to Real Talk. I am Professor Pinna. In a prior episode, we discussed the 4 different perspectives process. And just to remind everyone what they are again, that is what we assume the process to be, what the documentation says it is, what is really going on, and what we think it should be in the future. So those are the 4 perspectives. Today I want to talk about pitfalls that you need to be aware of when going about process mapping. Now, the first pitfall is not understanding perspective. You need to identify the perspective, and if you're mapping any one of the 4 when you're solving a problem other than what's really going on, you're going to fail. If you're designing the future state and you map out the ideal state or the to-be state only once, understand that that only references a single point in time and most likely will never capture any changes that you make as you're going about the design process. So you're going to have more than one of those. The second pitfall of process mapping is scope, not understanding boundaries. So when going about this exercise, you need a clear start, you need a clear stop. If you don't understand that, anything before and after is just going to inundate you. And you're never going to be able to map the process because you don't truly know where it begins or where it ends. The third pitfall is within that scope, within that start and stop, not identifying inclusionary and exclusionary criteria. So what does that mean? So let's say you're in healthcare and you're mapping out a healthcare process. Maybe there's a specific diagnosis that's excluded, and only certain ones are included. Maybe it's a specific patient type that you're looking at. If you're in manufacturing, maybe it's a specific product type. Maybe it's a specific machine. So understanding what is included and then what is excluded is also critical to success. Another pitfall is overcomplicating the process. So let's say you've identified your start, your stop, you've identified exclusionary, inclusionary criteria, and you're just mapping out every single little detail down to the keystroke. You don't need all of that. You want to understand the key points to the process. Always start at that high level and then drill down. Because the more you include into it, the process itself is going to become so complex that no one is ever going to understand it. The next piece is your stakeholders. You want to bring those that have intimacy with the process, either current state or the future state. Similar to other videos when you're inviting people to meetings, you only want to invite those that need to be there. Again, not a family reunion or company picnic. Just bring in those that truly need to be there. Another pitfall is obsessing over the tool. Which process map do I need to use? I'm going to pick the one that's the most detailed. Well, if you constantly focus on the tool, you're going to be losing the essence and purpose of what you're bringing people in for. Recommendation is to always start high, at the highest level of the process, 5 to 7 steps, maybe at most 10. And then if you need to go into further detail, without overcomplicating it, you can do that. So these are the common pitfalls concerning itself with process mapping, and you need to be aware of these anytime you're beginning a process mapping session. These will make your session run well, and it will add value to all those that are involved, and then at the end of it, you're going to have something that you can use and action against. And then ultimately, that is what is most important. What is that process map telling you? And then what are you going to do about it now that you understand what the process truly is? So until next time, keep it real.